Hey everybody, welcome back to the Creative Workshop with more memories. I'm your host, William Xavier, and this is the final video in the Caribbean Adventure series. We did it. We got through putting together all of the pages, and there were some pages that I did put together outside of the video series, just because moving things along, and there wasn't any particular special technique that I was really doing that I wanted to highlight for all of you. So this video, we're gonna put our album together. So those that might be newer to Creative Memories album cover sets, how those kind of function and work when you're wanting to put those pages in, as well as just some extra talking points about custom foiled spines. But we will flip through the final product here and get that whole experience. So thanks for joining, and I'm really excited to highlight this. I'm really happy with this album. Not that I'm not happy with other albums I do, but if I go back to that first video where we were getting organized and did our title page, I remember there were a few kind of personal goals that I wanted to try to accomplish with this album. And I think for the most part, I got all of those check boxes checked. And I'll talk about those as we go through. But let's get our pages into our album. So this was the 12 by 12 album set that I picked out for this particular cruise. I really liked the Boho Escape foiled album cover. I did have it in the jade, but the jade was a little bit too bright for my aesthetic. So I hunted down the Boho Escape album in the stone green color, which I feel matches the mood and the tones in the whole album much better. So that's why I picked that album cover. And it just kind of says, you know, tropical Caribbean to me a bit. So when you take off your shrink wrap, right? Where did I put it? What I did make a custom spine. But when you take off your shrink wrap, you know, you're going to remove your album spine and put that aside. And then we're going to open this up. We're going to take out the insert, the cardboard insert. And what's really nice with Creative Memories is that they do give us, in every album cover set, they give us the instructions on how to undo these straps, the flex hinge, and put in our pages, and then reassemble the flex hinge. So, and I always kind of have to have that handy once in a while because I always kind of forget how the order of things. But just by opening it up, we can see our bracket here is on the top, and the flex hinge strap is laced through. We're just going to push that through and unlace it, both at the top and the bottom. Right, and we can kind of see now, right? This piece will go on top of our pages. We're just going to pull this through, and then we're going to remove this back cover set. Put that aside. You're going to take off that strap bracket, put that aside. Now I'm ready to load in my pages. So I'm going to do a few at a time because there have been more times than not where I have missed one of the staples on the sides. And then and it would always happen that it would be, you know, a page way in the front of the album, and then I'd have to undo everything. So I just typically will do a few at a time. As you can see, I've already missed one. Right, so just do a few at a time. Just to make sure you're getting them all on there. Some folks like to, if they already have their album picked out, they will have this set out, and as a complete page is in order, right, they will then just kind of keep layering them in page by page, one by one as they have them done. And that way, that's another kind of way you would ensure that you got all of your pages strapped through. So kind of just depends on how you want to do things. I will tend to work on my album, work on my pages and everything. And then I pick my album more towards the end, just in case there's something that comes out that I like better than what I originally might have thought I would want to use. So usually albums for me, the album covers, are the last step in my process. One of the other last steps that I do that I didn't really highlight is that once I think I've got my album, quote unquote done, I will go back, I will flip through it, and when I'm doing that, what I'm looking for, I pull out my matte packs, I pull out my stickers, I pull out my embellishments, and what I'm doing is I'm kind of giving another eyeball to each page to kind of see, is there any missed opportunity to put a sticker or an embellishment, because usually when I'm planning my pages and putting them together, I'm just really bad at thinking about using those pieces. So it just helps me to use some of those by going through one last time before I put my page protectors on and seeing what additions I can add. So, oops, missed that. There we go. All right, I got all my pages in. I'm gonna get my strap, or the bracket holder, the strap holder, and I'm going to put that on here. Then I'm going to get my cover set. I'm going to get this in here. I'm going to then weave into the first hole, or the first slot there. Now, some people really want these tighter, some people want, it kind of depends on how thick your album is. You don't want to make it too thick, but you want to have it where, you can open it and move your pages along. So, I will tend to kind of get it in this position, kind of give these straps a little bit more of a pull to get my cover set close there, and then weave in the strap on the opposite, or on the next slot in there. It might take a little finessing. Again, if you have a lot of pages, you're not gonna have a lot of this flex hinge strap to work with, so it can get a little tricky. I will also kind of give a nice good tug here to kind of get that situated. It feels okay, and so I can give it a little test run here. Pages are moving okay. I might just give it slightly more slack, just slightly. Just because, I kind of want things to lay a little more flat. going through. Okay. Now again, some people will also wonder, how thick to make their albums. I know Creative Memories says that you can fit 3 page refill packs into one cover set. Again, you kind of have to think about what type of pages you're using, and what kind of pages you're making. As you can see, right, I don't really have too many pages, but I am pretty thick here because I've used a lot of peekaboos, and a lot of, couple different page designs that just add to some thickness. And plus I'm adding some memorabilia pamphlets that adds to the overall thickness as well. So in general, I know some guidance from Creative Memories as well has kind of been, anywhere between 2 inches. It can max maybe go up to 3 inches, right? So you can kind of see I'm really kind of at that 2-inch mark, depending on how, if I squeeze my album, but if I loosely put it together, right, I'm pushing that 2-inch mark. So that's fine. Okay. And see, I totally forgot another point. I gotta go all the way back and undo this. But not really the whole thing. The other thing that you might want to consider, and I know some people will do this as well, on the shrink wrap of the album, there's a sticker that tells us, the name of the album, the size. Older albums, this is from 2021, Creative Memories did not put the album color on the labels. So some folks have been, kind of questioning, what color is this album? I want to get a matching spine done. And it kind of gets a little tough when you're trying to figure out which it is. Some of us advisors are really pretty savvy with that and can kind of help and know there are some resources out there of generous folks who have spent a lot of time, hunting down all these colors and creating lists and spreadsheets to help us with that. But one piece that I do is that I will cut out from the shrink wrap that sticker. Some folks like to just peel that sticker off and put it on, the back cover, so they'll always know. What I did here, I just cut it out of the shrink wrap. I then just cut a little slit here so that I can just slide it into the strap. And then I'll always have it on there. And so again, right, this particular album, it's older, they did not print the color of the album, so I just wrote it right on the sticker, stone green. You can see it right here. So that way I know, in case I ever need to know what color this album cover set is again. And I didn't make that as tight as I like, so I gotta get it a little bit. Just pulling these straps in. Okay, better. So that's my little kind of trick with knowing album names and album colors. I just will add that in the back so that in the future, if I need to know, I know. So real quick, talking about spines. If you haven't yet, here's the album spine that I had done during one of the album spine promos. And I really, really, really like the album spines being done. And I chose the silver just because the other albums are in silver. I'm kind of matchy-matchy in that way. So kept it silver. And this was just the name of, basically the itinerary name of our cruise, West Caribbean or Western Caribbean. So when you get one of your new spines, you just want to kind of give a gentle curve like this, and just kind of run your your hand around, because you want it to curve a bit. What I will also tend to do, just to kind of add some extra sturdiness to the spine, I will keep it with the old one as well, and I will put both back into the album. And so stand up our album like this. We start to insert. Take it down to the white, where the white is, down to where the album starts. And then just gently and evenly keep pushing the album cover in. I'm getting a little uneven here. I don't know why that's not working. Of course, right? It's worked before, and then when I try to show everybody how to do this, it's not gonna work. There. So now I've got my album all situated. And before we flip through, right, another point about album covers, like I just mentioned, there are some albums that are older. The book cloth has been retired, so it's not able to have a custom spine done by Creative Memories. We cannot send them in to have them do it for us. There are some people out there that might use a Cricut machine or some other type of embossing that you could send in the spine to them. They'll do it and then send it back to you. The other option that you have, which might sound a bit, I don't know if I want to do that, is to pick a coordinating color that would go really well with the album cover. And so then you kind of have a two-tone. You have a different color spine with a different color album set. And I know some people might not like that, but that was kind of my option. I had to do with two albums because the colors just weren't available anymore. And one of them was my Ireland album, which was the first album I completed getting back into scrapbooking. And so I chose the stone green because it went really well with the moss green album that I had picked for it. And the other one, I picked navy, and that's the one I'm going to show you here for my Cape Cod, my first Cape Cod album. So this, I had already picked out this cover set because I was like, this says Cape Cod to me. And it is, deep sea blue from 2019. So getting a custom album done, spine in this one, not an option. And then since we've gone to Cape Cod more than once or twice, so I have another album that's my Cape Cod, and I picked the Coastal Shores album, which is a navy cover set. And so because I wanted at least the spines to then match on the shelf that I have them on, I kind of looked at, what? It doesn't look that bad getting a navy spine with this particular cover set. It goes, it coordinates, it, matches the other one on the shelf. You wouldn't know on the shelf until you pull out the album. So that's another option that you can explore. And, your advisor might be able to further help you with that. They might have some other examples, or other, albums that, they could help you mix and match a little to kind of see, do you like this color? Is this an option? And then you could go and order that spine. So the moment I know a lot of us have been waiting for, the final flip through. So let's have some fun and reminisce on some of our journey putting this together. So here, and I will try to avoid some of that glare. I'll try to adjust my light a little bit so that we can see it. These pages a lot better. So here's our title page from our first video. And then we've got that journey all the way to Fort Lauderdale from Indianapolis, the hotel that we stayed at, the view from the hotel room. Someone's camera shy, so that's okay. This was our meal in Fort Lauderdale. We walked to Olive and Sea. We just enjoyed really good seafood as well. And that was just the option we picked that day. The boat in the docked was really neat, so I spliced those two photos together. Some memorabilia from the ship. Our first port of call, right? Here's the little kind of mini pocket that I made. That flips over. Here's our boarding passes for the ship. Here's our daily itineraries. Originally, in the early on, I was going to leave these pages blank behind because you can't really see too much. And then at the end, when I was going through things, I was like, I have these scraps that I could probably use up a bit. So that's what I did. I then went back and made extra title pages for our ports of call. So Bahamas with the Half Moon Key, and just some information that I got and wrote up real quick about the Bahamas. We have our Half Moon Key. Again, another photo I had to splice a bit because I don't print in panoramic. Someday I'll figure that out. So just our day on the beach at Half Moon Key. Again, we had that wonderful view of the ship there. Really liked that moment. The first time we learned about tendering over. Right. Our sunset page. So kind of one of the checklist that I had made at the beginning, right, was I wanted to use torn paper throughout every page and layout, and that's so far what we've been able to accomplish. I also didn't want to wallpaper the pages, and if you're newer and you're not sure what that term means, wallpapering is just a term excuse me, getting a little dry, used where you're taking a standard page, such as what I used here, and instead of incorporating it into how your layout and having the page exposed, you're taking a full 12 by 12 sheet, or if you're working 8 by 8 excuse me, you're just kind of covering that whole standard page with it. So I didn't want to do that. Excuse me, still getting over this cold. Then we moved into Jamaica. Our port of call was Ocho Rios. Excuse me. One of the other things that I had tried to do was really stick to certain collections with putting my pages together. Grab my coffee. Maybe that'll help my throat a little here. And for the most part, I did stick to the tropical garden collection, sun-soaked, and tropic time collections. But once in a while I needed a little help from my friends, which is okay. And so here we've got the molten lava papers. I also used Paradise Found, which was an advisor exclusive collection the other year ago. So here in Ocho Rios, we kind of went on a botanical gardens walk at the Canoco Falls. This beautiful macaw was there that we got to have perch on us briefly. Here is the Canoco Falls. We kind of literally walked right by it and didn't know until our tour guide pointed it out. Our having some authentic jerk chicken was delicious. It was amazing, with some Festivus, which is kind of like a fried dough. Excuse me, it's not quite like a donut, but not as sweet, but very, very similar to like a not really a hush puppy, but kind of like a fry cake donut. We moved into Grand Cayman, Georgetown specifically. It was our port of call. Here's another fun fact that I noticed. Well, there's two I'll point out. The first one. So while I was putting these pages together, something I think I unconsciously was doing. Here on the title page, right, I've got our the places, the countries we visited in the Caribbean. And if you notice that they have a little icon with them, right? The Bahamas had the sun, Jamaica has the hummingbird and the flower, Grand Cayman had the coral, and Mexico has the maracas. Something that I just kind of unconsciously did was I pulled these right through into their pages, and I didn't really realize that till I was in the middle of Grand Cayman, right? So like in the Bahamas, here's my sun. In Jamaica, here's my hummingbird and flowers. Right, Grand Cayman, here's the coral that I used. And then the second one, here's our pocket page, right, our 12 by 12 peekaboo. The other one that I actually did was when I was going back to these particular pages, finishing them up, it felt like it needed something extra, and that's where I added the sea turtles with the sea turtle punch. And then when I went back to do this page and get some information about Grand Cayman, part of the history, apparently it's an area that's a hotbed for sea turtles, at least back in the 1500s, 1600s. It's probably a little different now, given all of the hunting and fishing and of sea turtles as well. So I just found that kind of like a neat little thing that happened, that I didn't really know that until afterwards. I had already placed these, incorporated them, and then I learned that there was a history of high sea turtle population around the Cayman Islands. So I thought that was kind of neat. That happens to me sometimes. Now, with Mexico and Cozumel, right? Creative Memories doesn't have a maracas punch of any kind. So what I did, I used my Cricut and just cut out a maraca image, excuse me, on the medium craft, and then decorated them by hand and gave them a little bit of a wisp of ink. Excuse me. Our Cozumel pictures. the church we came upon in Cosmo. And my little dual photo, same sign, same information, just this one's in Spanish. So I wanted to keep that and incorporate it. So I just put a little tag on it to be able to pull that out and see it. Excuse me. Here's our treasure map about our history of rum and pirates. Oh, forgot to look at me treasure. Oops. The Kraken. The other piece that I incorporate when I use peekaboos a lot is the use of the clear archivers corners. I don't know if they're going to bring these back, but I really like that, using that corner split to hold the peekaboo in place so they're not flapping all over the place on me. Here's where we had a cooking demonstration on board with the recipe. Our onboard entertainment, which was really fun. Really great pianist. He was, my goodness, I wish I could play the piano in that way. So this is an 8x8 peekaboo, which was part of a promo when the 8x8 papers came out in 2025. They had the peekaboo set. There was 4x8s, 8x4s, and then 8x8s. So I used an 8x8 here. We would typically go to the crow's nest, which was the observation lounge on the observation deck, and just kind of grab something to drink and just relax and just look at the wonderful views. And then I had these pictures. I will take pictures around the ship as well of just kind of some of the interesting artwork that they would have. And so I needed a place to put those. So I did a mini cascade here in the 8x4s, just using pumpkin cardstock. And then we had dinner at the onboard seafood restaurant, Rudy's, which we enjoyed. And then finally, we made our way home. And so that was the first time. Here's a fun fact. That was the first time going through airport security where we had to walk by one of the drug sniffing dogs. I'd never done that before until then. It was not that I had anything to worry about, but it was just something, you know, different. And you're like, what's this? What's that about? But yeah. So there we have it. We've got our West Caribbean Cruise album all set. So I hope you all enjoyed this journey. I know I did. And I'm looking forward to the next series that I'll be doing. I'm not sure what that is yet, but there'll be something. I'll figure that out. And of course, I'll let everybody know as well. So again, thanks for joining me on this. It was great having you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always available to chat and to help in any way I can. Reach out to your advisor that you're affiliated with as well. If you're not affiliated with an advisor and you'd like one, you can certainly feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you and guide you through any of your projects, as well as help you with any needs that you might have with products as well. So don't hesitate to reach out. So again, thanks for joining. Be safe, be well, and happy scrapping.